I'm going to call back to order the Tuesday, July 8th Select Board meeting. Thank you for those here and at home. We have just exited an executive session. We are returning to open session. So, first on the agenda, under the business section, you have before you warrant 2526 and 2527, as well as Facilities Project Warrant 64 and Facilities Project Warrant 65. Town Administrator, anything you want to call out on this?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple items. So warrant number 2526 dated June 26th totaled in at about 1.5 million for payroll and 1.4 million for bills payable. FP 64 coming in at about 3.6 million total. I'm giving you the abridged version just because we have a couple other items backlogged on the agenda. Also, you'll notice for a smaller period of time, there's a smaller amount of money just clearing up the end of the fiscal year. It wasn't a full period. So warrant 2527 dated June 30th, 2025. Payroll coming in only at about $440,000. And bills payable coming in at about $860,000 with a Facilities Project 65 warrant total of $44,000, which is more so leaning towards the IT side of things and less so construction. That's everything for now.
Okay, any questions?
Move to accept warrants 2526, 2527, Facilities Project 64 and 65.
Okay, there is a motion. Is there a second? There is a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, if any? Okay, that passes unanimously. You have with you minutes from the open session of June 24th. Any questions on those minutes?
I do not.
Okay, if there's no questions, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to accept as presented.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Deb. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, if any? Okay. Justin, Town Administrator update and report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As a reminder, we seek or continue to seek input regarding the proposed names for the public safety building and the new town hall. That's going to appear in your upcoming August 5th Select Board meeting, so if you can continue to give some thought to that. The Attorney General's made a decision on the ADU bylaw that was approved at the December 12th meeting. Some elements were struck down, not just in Middleton, but among some other communities as well. So we're currently working with the team to figure out what among those elements we can alter and bring forward as an amendment for an upcoming town meeting, either a special or at the annual.
Can I ask you a question? So is any part of that bylaw, the parts they didn't strike down, does that become law now, or the whole thing is put off?
So the whole thing stands in our bylaws. Instead of bringing forth a new set and proposing that to replace it, we're just going to amend the elements that they want to see tweaked.
But right now, are the parts that they didn't have issue with law in Middleton or not?
So the part that they did not have issue with are law. in
They are law,
Middleton,
okay.
are
It's
law.
not like they said this bylaw is not valid.
Struck, correct. Yep.
Okay, they did
Some
approve.
elements stand up, but some elements, and we're gonna bring something forward that breaks down exactly what is and what is not at an upcoming meeting, but our team just hasn't had a chance to
Late breaking.
go through that process.
In the town charter, where does that, is that approved now? Is that law now, the new town, the charter amendment?
No, that won't be
Not come back.
until the legislature passes a home rule petition.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so by example, we only just got response back on something from December, so something from May is gonna be just
Okay.
as long. Thank you. The comprehensive zoning review kicked off with VHB, the selected vendor, to go through that process. They're going to be holding meetings with various stakeholders throughout the community over the next coming months, and the deadline in mind is still the May 2026 annual town meeting. So over this year, they'll be going through that process. Fiscal 25 on the financial side of things has officially wrapped up, with fiscal 26 kicking off at the beginning of July. The preliminary tax bills have hit the street. Q1 is due on August 1st as a reminder. The Library Board of Trustees has appointed Assistant Town Administrator Bresnahan as the acting library director while we continue our search for an interim. The Library Director Screening Committee will also be meeting throughout the summer with the goal of having a full-time permanent director in place for the fall. A huge thank you to Jackie for all the heavy lifting she's doing over there, as well as the remaining library staff trying to make things work. And collective bargaining is set to begin sometime in September. We'll be doing some early preparation throughout the summer in our office. It seems shocking that we're already starting that up again, but as a reminder, the CBAs that were finalized were already a year in and we had a retro. So if we continue on the current cycle, if we can wrap things up this fall, going into the winter, they'll be set for the budget process to be approved at the upcoming annual town meeting. So just something to get on your radar.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, thank you. Anything additional on the municipal complex update?
I'm going to hold off on that and provide something more in-depth
Okay.
coming up in August, but we remain on time and significantly under budget.
Okay, great.
Good news.
Okay, as part of our regular agenda item of department head updates, we have our building commissioner, Scott Fitzpatrick, with us this evening. Scott, come on up and sit down. So I know we have, after their update, we have another item on the agenda that you'll be assisting us with, but the microphone is yours, an opportunity to tell us what's going on, and
Everyone knows from budget season, the permits are down a little bit this year. Looking at the final numbers for fiscal '25, we're down about 186 permits over fiscal year '24. Some of the big differences, we had no major commercial projects really in fiscal '25. New house construction in fiscal '25, we only issued 4 permits for new single-family homes, and then the 3 duplex structures up on Essex Street, compared to 10 new single-family homes in fiscal year '24. So, you know, those are some of the points that stick out. Is construction has slowed down a little bit. I think the cost of construction and the cost of money right now is still affecting it. You know, we did on our end, we were able to save about $23,000 in our part-time inspector's line item this year. So we kind of pulled back a little bit. And then about another $9,000, $9,500 over the other budgeted line item. So we're going to come in about $33,500 under our budget.
okay, good.
So, you know, we tried to work with what was going on at the time and make adjustments where necessary.
Are you seeing out there in the communities around us similar examples, and are they continuing to see a slowdown now entering the new year?
Yeah, we have monthly continuing education meetings with the other building inspectors and talking to the groups. It seems to be a common trend in the area. You know, some towns took a little longer to slow down, but it seems to be it's happening.
Okay.
How long does, you know, if somebody files a permit, if they submit all the right paperwork, how long does it take to be reviewed and the permit
It depends on the type of permit. If it's a more comprehensive permit, it gets reviewed by all the town departments. So if it's a permit for, say, an addition or a pool, and it needs to be reviewed by the Board of Health, Conservation, Stormwater, DPW, Fire Department, based on those department schedules, it can take some time. You know, lately, some of the complaints we've gotten about time are just basically they don't submit the right documents. We ask for them. They can take 3 weeks to submit them if they submit them at all. And on some of these reviews, they don't come back to the building department until the other departments complete their reviews. So if Board of Health asks for a deed restriction and it takes them 3 weeks to record the deed restriction and then submit it, this permit may have been sitting around for 3 to 4 weeks because the department completing the review wasn't given the information they requested. You know, we try to get them in and out as quick as possible. With vacation, sometimes stuff takes longer, but the statute's to take action within 30 days, and starting the review and asking for information is taking action. And, you know, I can't stress enough sending a complete application. And when I explain this all the time, when a department completing a review asks for something, you know, get it in as quick as you can. You know, sometimes there's permits that have been kicking around for 3, 4, 5 weeks before they even hit my desk because other departments have waited for things. You know, fire department waited for a smoke detector layout, Board of Health waited for septic information. Water was incomplete and they had to finish it and then get the sign off from the agent on the stormwater, so.
Do you know how many permit applications were in process as of the end of the fiscal year? That they were somewhere in this review process?
I don't know if that's a report we can run on the system. I would have to ask them.
Because, you know, that's, might be, another thing, like, Sarah who gives us our, the quarterly, financials,
Yeah.
and, okay, this is, building permit, revenue.
Yes.
But if you also know that there's, another 50 in process, it and gives you another point of information, I guess.
So the last munis statement that we have right now that reconciled, because Sarah's wrapping up the June stuff right now, had us at a 244,848 and some change.
That's the total number of permits or the
That's the,
value of the
that's the
permits,
revenue.
or- Okay,
That's
so
the revenue
that's the
collected.
revenue that the permits
So there
pulled
was-
in.
2 months worth of electronic transfers that aren't included in that. One of them was $80,000. So, and then there was 2 physical check transfers that aren't included in that 224 number. So we're up in the 338,000. So we're going to end, as long as everything reconciles out, once we get our June stuff from Sarah, about 10,000 over her projection, which I do understand was modified down from previous years.
So in previous years, the board used to get a kind of a summary of, I don't know if we got it monthly or quarterly. I think we got it quarterly.
At one point, it was monthly. At a different point in time, it became quarterly,
Quarterly.
and then it's kind of dropped off.
Yeah, it kind of disappeared, which basically said, this is how many building permits, this is how many electrical permits, this is how many plumbing permits, gas permits during that time frame. This is how many inspections happened. And then I think it also said, for the quarter 1 of the fiscal year, this is the total that we had, and this is what it was quarter 1 of the previous fiscal year. And I think it gave us a good picture of if things were headed this way
Or down. yeah.
or kind of headed that way. And then, like, you coming in is very helpful, but as we look at,
That's something we can, those are reports we can generate and, get to Justin and Jackie to distribute if, whatever frequency.
yeah, I mean, I don't need to know
Quarterly
that,
is,
I don't need to know that the plumbing inspector went out 32 times. I don't need to know that. What I'd like to see is what volume is coming in, and then, maybe what you have is, this is how many permits have been applied, this is how many have been issued. And to Costa's point, is there a backlog coming and we're gonna see an increase, or is it just continuing to go down?
I mean, I think, quarterly is enough to give you the, the trends.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think we need to see monthly, quarterly, I think.
Quarterly.
And then, the revenue is helpful to see. I don't know if your report shows, like, we've, 50 permits of a value, construction value of X in a permit value of Y. I think we can get that.
Yeah, it does. Right now, the one we have has permits issued and permit fees.
Okay.
So we can, and Citizen Serve's pretty flexible as far as if we want to add fields. There hasn't been a whole lot they haven't been able to do. So,
Because I'm also interested in seeing is, it's great if we had 50 permits, but if they're all, wood-burning stove and a
Well-
small shed, I'd really like to see
Not
what is that new growth
no
looking
revenue.
like.
well, that's it. We're down, 186 permits, but we're down almost 125, 130,000 in revenue. So
But
it's
what are we down in
the
new
s-
growth?
Yeah, the smaller they're definitely smaller permits and not the bigger stuff we were seeing.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised by that. I mean, the economic environment and the cost of lending right now.
Yeah, it's,
Never mind being able to get somebody to do something.
yeah.
Okay. Anything else that's keeping you up at night?
Not really.
So you sleep like a baby?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, any other questions for him on his report? Okay, next on the item agenda, and I know you've been involved in this, is 2 liquor license violations. One of them is at 232 South Main Street, Vinham, which entailed both a walk-in cooler that was installed without permit process, as well as a new mounted sign on the outside that is larger than what has been permitted and approved.
Well, it had no permits.
Well, it
but
didn't
yeah,
have a permit, but is outside of the...
larger than what the bylaw or
Bylaw
the
requires.
previous variance would allow.
So, before we go to the second violation of a different license, can you give us a little bit of a rundown on that?
So initially, they had applied for a permit. It was back over the winter, I think in December. The permit was denied because they didn't submit the required documents, and the applicant did not have a Massachusetts contractors or refrigeration license that was required. And then at some point between then and May, when we found out about the violations from the fire department, the work was done anyways, the cooler was installed, the footprint of the building was modified. And then as part of following up on the cooler work without a permit, we found the sign that was installed without the permits.
How big was the cooler? How many square feet?
I don't have the plan in front of me, it was a good size.
It's a walk-in.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a reach-in.
No, it's one of those
10 by 10, or what?
No, 10 or 15 by 30.
Oh, okay, pretty big.
One of those with the glass doors with the storage behind it that you can actually go in and,
So, have they since fulfilled the requirements around permit and license?
as of today, no. They've applied for permits, every single one of the permits, the building permit, the electrical permit, and the mechanical permit are all missing the required documentation. They sent an engineer in probably 2 weeks ago, I think it was the week of the 23rd, who seemed to have a handle on what needed to be submitted, and I have not heard from him or seen him since.
And it's not sitting in permit server or citizen serve.
Nope.
He has made no attempt to,
No, the last correspondence with the engineer was that week of the 23rd. The gentleman who pulled the building permit called and left a message last night. I returned his call this morning, and his answer was, well, I know you guys are looking for stuff, but no one's given me the plans to submit.
And that's 232 or 152?
232, but it's the same
same,
engineer and same contractor.
For
and
both
same
sites.
group of,
So, is the walk-in cooler currently operational in being utilized?
yes, the only modification that was made is the property owner, who's ultimately responsible for all the building code violations, did hire a fire protection engineer and a sprinkler company to go in and install the sprinklers into the walk-in cooler. And that was only after the discussions were being had whether or not we were going to leave the building open or not.
Okay.
So it has sprinklers in it, but nothing else has been brought up to code or inspected.
so if I'm understanding this, and I'm sorry, Brian, I
go ahead.
didn't go through you. If I'm understanding this correctly, they installed the walk-in cooler, it's up and running,
Yep.
but the rest of the leased area still has to be brought up to code, or
No, the walk-in-
there's still violations
The
in the
violation is the
cooler?
walk-in cooler, and the problem is you take this large walk-in cooler and you put it into a store that was laid out, that had its emergency lighting, and it had its exit lighting, and it had its fire protection based on a certain layout. Now the layout's changed. So what the fire department has asked for as part of their review is just, those life safety features to be shown on the new floor plan, so they can make sure the pull stations are in the right locations, the exit lights are in the right locations now, the emergency lighting isn't being blocked by the cooler that was installed. And then we need to know that the cooler meets the code. I mean, we don't have any information on the cooler box itself. Does it comply with the building code? Does it comply with the energy code, which is a part of the building code? Does it comply with the mechanical code? And we don't know because we have no permits on it. We don't know if the wiring complies with the electrical code.
And you're saying they're using the cooler?
Yep.
And what's the enforcement options?
I've put a stop work order on them. I'm withholding the permits per our zoning bylaw and the building code from the property owner for their temporary tenant that wants to go in down the end of the building, in the Joanne Fabric space, which is an enforcement option. I mean, we can write daily fines, whether they're collectible or not, without, a court battle. Not sure.
So what is the effect, so I know when we approve a liquor license, it's approved not just on the manager and the owner, it's also approved on the footprint, the inside of that building, the coolers, et cetera. So while they're in violation of building code and the process there, they're technically in violation of their liquor license, which would require us as a board to hold a public hearing.
If we can, typically, if we resolve it through Scott's office first, we don't go to that step, but it seems as though Building Commissioner Fitzpatrick is using all of his channels. And if the board would like to proceed with that, we would set it up for your August meeting. And then if the building commissioner's office resolves it prior to that, you wouldn't need to hold that public hearing, but it's at your discretion in terms of next steps. But that would be the process if the board wanted to proceed and support the building commissioner's office in this enforcement.
Brian, may I say something? So if I look at this whole situation, Scott, you said that they originally applied for the application back in December.
I believe it was over the winter. I believe it was December.
So then they went ahead and they violated how they were setting up with this cooler and violated all kinds of, you're talking wiring, you're talking fire, that's deep.
Yep.
So I don't have a problem going and holding off till August, but I guess my concern is this permit started in December, so the workload that's coming out from our building department is unfair. There's rules in how you have to abide by to take out permits. I've looked at your site, those rules are spelled out very clearly.
Yep.
And if it wasn't clear to this applicant, they should have picked up the phone and called.
Yep.
So
So
they
the
submitted an
time
application
I
in
have a
April,
problem
in
with.
December?
The first one that was denied, I believe, was December. I'd have to go back in the system.
Because it
But
wasn't
around
complete.
then,
Yeah, it
you're
was.
still
it- the winter-
talking
it was
6-7
It was winter
months.
time, and
But it was
then
denied because it wasn't a licensed,
didn't have a Massachusetts license, and no documents were provided with it. You
when was this cooler installed?
that I don't know. We found out about it. I believe it was May when those emails, late April, May.
Yeah, it was like May 1st is your.
Yeah, I believe the fire department. If I
When did we transfer that license?
It was before annual town meeting, so it was before that.
Hang on.
So, the reason why I'm asking is there an inspection that is triggered as part of a transfer of the license? Like, does fire department come in and inspect the premise?
No, they stand on their annuals, which are happening every fall when they come in for the renewal. So we don't typically, the only thing that we do inspections for midstream on liquor are things that are newly opening. Everything else we catch with the building commissioner's office and the fire department at the annual inspection.
So, in this
package.
case, the fire department came in to do their annual and,
But a package store wouldn't get an annual under the 110 section. It's
They're not
only,
in that building though. Don't they not get a fire?
they get a, I believe, if I remember right, the fire department was doing an in-service inspection is how they found it.
that's how they found it, okay.
help me out, so you're dealing with the property owners,
Yes, and the
and what I'm
tenant.
looking at.
Yeah,
So you're dealing with the landlord, not the.
at this point, yeah,
License.
because.
So so they, okay, I don't know if you know this answer, my point is, I'm all for, doing what we have to do to a liquor license, but if this isn't the actual proprietors that are making the violation, and it's the landlords doing the work, then I don't think it's,
Well,
I don't think it's the landlord doing the
No,
work.
so,
okay, that's,
under the building code, we have to issue the violation to the property owner.
okay.
And the correspondence with him is, the gentleman from MB Realty was basically, he was gonna put, the pressure on the tenant to do the right thing. And I've
Okay.
reminded him a couple of times that, well, that's great if he's gonna do it, but ultimately it's your responsibility.
Right.
And that's the same with the conversation I had
And
with,
now,
Two different tenants.
any other permits being built on that, being requested on that complex are gonna be held until this is.
correct, which
rectified.
I thought that would have been enough to get them to step in and resolve this, but it hasn't to date. And I'm not sure why. In the past, they've been very, any of the projects they've done and they've permitted in my time here, they've been very professional and, easy to
Is
deal
it-
with.
Is it the tenant that's holding,
So
that
the,
is,
so the tenant did the work, and.
right,
But the landlord has a legal responsibility under the building code, so the landlord could send his engineer in, like he did with the sprinkler system.
that cost off onto the tenant?
However, his legal contract works with them, but the landlord could go in and make it right, satisfy the building code violation
That's right.
with his contractors, and obviously being the business they are, they have mechanical contractors, they have refrigeration contractors, their electrician was in the office.
So without knowing that the electrical was done correctly, and I assume this has an HVAC unit on the roof?
Well, that leads to another thing. Anytime you add weight to a roof, you have to make sure it's looked at to make sure that the roof can hold the weight, because these flat roofs, these bar joists, they're not designed for weight to be added without additional structure.
So I'm trying to figure out, like, what is your next step here to, I mean, obviously, one of the step is, not gonna speak for the board, but I have a feeling the board's heading in the direction, we're gonna have a public hearing in August, that we have a violation of the liquor license. But that may be enough to get the tenant moving, but quite honestly, the landlord's not gonna care about the liquor license.
No, but the landlord's not gonna get any more permits, so the landlord has a temporary tenant lined up for the Joanne Fabrics building. They need an occupancy permit, and they need a sign permit, which they're not gonna get.
Can I speak to that?
Yep.
Because that, in my opinion, everything that we're talking about in the decrease of those building permits, so now for the town of Middleton and looking at our growth number going in the negative, by holding that permit, in Scott, I'm not saying that you shouldn't. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is now we're holding off a tenant, a viable tenant for the Joanne Fabrics area space, which is gonna hurt the town's revenue. It is going to hurt our revenue stream.
Well, it's also
I
gonna,
have
it's also
a
gonna hurt
problem-
MB Realty's revenue stream too.
Which brings me to thinking of this. Forget this tenant. Forget him. Just start dealing with the landlord and give him a certain. This is just my opinion. Just I'm not
Well, we
speaking
have,
for
you
the
know,
board.
we've-
You have a certain amount of time, and if they don't comply, then we shut them down. That's
I mean, if,
we
you kind
can't
of,
keep
I mean,
losing.
I know this is your job and not our job.
Yeah.
But I know you're also looking for some, maybe a little bit of guidance from the board of,
Well, I mean, I can revoke the occupancy and shut the business down. We've never taken a hard-handed approach in my time here, and
no, and I appreciate it.
No.
I've always said about all of our building commissioners, you've got a range of things that you can do. And I always want our building commissioner to be as magnanimous as possible within a point. If after a while, they're not even being responsive,
You
do
gotta
what you
do-
have to
Yeah.
do.
That's right.
Because I appreciate that at least the landlord took care of the life and safety issues, i.e. a sprinkler system issue, but they should have taken care of everything.
Yeah.
That's my
And so should the
opinion.
tentative, but, you know, I think what I'm hoping at this point is if the board does, you know, schedule a hearing for August, that's enough of a kickstart to get the tenant or the landlord to do the right thing.
Yeah, and the
get it
understanding is that
permitted.
the hearing isn't to hear their side, the hearing is to revoke their license.
Right.
Yeah, so, you know, if the engineer that was in the office 2 weeks ago is actually working on the documents that he knows needs to be presented, he was waiting for some info on the cooler, the gentleman had a very, very good understanding of what needed to be done.
Okay.
Do you think a lot of this cooler needs to be ripped out and rebuilt, or do you think, for the most part, you don't know, right?
I have no idea.
Right.
You know, if the condenser was put on the roof, which I still haven't got a straight answer, and I haven't been up on Market Basket's roof, you know,
And you won't.
we need a, you know, structural engineer or an engineer to at least certify that it's not gonna come through and land on somebody. So,
There was no cooler in that, walk-in cooler in that space before?
not the big one.
So they kept the original and added another, or replaced one?
I believe the small one on the left was there prior, so they put a large one on the right-hand side.
Didn't remove the original, now they have two.
I haven't been in, so. Okay,
And they're doing the work on the back side, so no one's gonna see it till it's long overdone,
Yeah, you know, and it's, you know,
particularly on 232.
correct, you know, so if they, you know, delivered it on the weekend and brought it in and,
so on the issue of the sign, if a penalty is going to be leveraged, i.e. a fine,
yeah.
is that to the landlord or the tenant?
They have to go to the property owner, because that's the only way that the unpaid fines can be leaned against the property, is if they go to the
Real
property
estate
owner.
taxes. That's how.
So,
What's the sign issue? Tell us about the sign.
they
Too big.
changed the sign without a permit, and then they installed one that's larger than required, allowed by the bylaw. It's also larger than that property had a 1990 zoning board decision that was very specific to the signage and to the different stores in there. The anchor stores got some pretty big relief, and then the smallest spaces were given a percentage based on their amount of frontage they have. So it exceeds both of them. And, you know, I guess the only way around that would be to apply to the zoning board for a variance, but they're gonna have a hard time trying to show a hardship under 40A when it comes
They
to
already did it.
sign, yeah.
I'm surprised that the landlord is taking such a laissez-faire attitude, because typically in the lease, it would say that all alterations would have to be pre-approved by the landlord and done by
Permitted?
License,
permitted
permitted.
and licensed,
Yep.
and none of this was done.
I'm as surprised as you are, because typically they've been pretty responsive landlord.
I think the landlord's corporate structure's been a little busy lately.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
So, again, you do what you have to do. But
So I'll
on
move
this case, I'd take a
to
motion.
schedule a license revocation hearing for Venom on August's meeting.
Okay, we have a motion
Second.
and a second by Deb. Any further discussion? Okay, not hearing any. All those in favor?
Use that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's,
Right,
and I'm an
Scott?
aye, that's unanimous.
Whatever you gotta do.
Anybody opposed? Okay. 156 South Main Street.
152, I think, right?
152, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, which is the Richdale.
Yes.
Similar instance of a walk-in cooler without a permit?
Permit, yeah. This one's just a cooler, no sign.
Okay, so, and this is not a walk-in, this is a,
Same thing, it's a walk-in, and this is the one, I believe, this is the one they ratted themselves out when they came in to try to, the original cooler installer came in to try to talk his way out of 232. He let it slip that he put this one in too.
okay. So, do we know when 152 was installed?
Around the same time frame, I believe.
Must have got a 2-for-1.
Similar size?
Yes, yeah.
Similar with a unit on the roof?
On that, I'm not sure.
Probably not. It's probably in back or on the side.
That building, I don't think would be,
No, I don't think it would.
no, yeah, it's probably on the ground out back or something.
And because it's the same engineer or
So the same-
installer
The same installer,
that doesn't have a license in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts,
Great.
the same, basically the same, when I say the same group, I'm talking the contractors, engineers, and everyone who's been in and not providing the documents have been in on this one.
Where else have they done any work anywhere else in town in the area
I don't know.
that you're
Not
aware
without
of?
permit.
They haven't ratted themselves out on a third yet.
If they took out building permits, he could run the applicant's name through Citizen Serve and get that report.
So what, the difference here between 232 is the owner of the license is the owner of the property, correct?
No.
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 No, it's, the property's owned by Richardson Farms, and there's a,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wrong Rich Deal.
yes,
I thought we were talking about Rich Deal in the center.
No.
I should have known that by 152.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you been dealing with the landlord on that?
same thing, Bolt. We sent notice to the landlord. You know, was less responsive initially than the previous landlord, but, you know, he understands his responsibility, but he's still kind of pushing it towards the tenant. He also has a vacant space that's going to be looking for an occupancy. Hate to do it.
All in the same,
Yeah,
Property.
there's a small space at the end that was being used as an office by
okay.
one of the other businesses.
Insurance company or
Yeah,
something.
so now, now we got a barber shop looking at it, but, you know, this is a smaller landlord, but we got to treat everyone the same.
Yep.
So,
I'd be surprised if the owners were aware of this in this
They are.
case.
They are now.
Now
they are now, yes, yeah.
That they were.
Yeah, and this is, again, you know, another property owner who's typically very responsive, and when they take on projects, they,
Do it right.
yeah.
As far as the tenants go of the two properties, are they in parallel tracks and both stopped at the same point, or is one further along than the other? Is one cooperated more, or is it like almost identical?
Identical, so the same people have applied for the round of permits to legalize, so the same building contractor has applied, the same mechanical contractor has applied, the same electrician has applied, so it's
And you're missing the identical
both
things on
documents
both?
from. So basically, the conversation I had with the engineer a couple of weeks ago in the office was, we went through 232, step by step, all the documents, we looked at what he had, all his hand notes on the plans, and at the very end, it was, okay, now do the same thing for 152.
So basically, if you spend the right money on the installers that have licenses that will walk in and get a permit.
Well,
Correct.
and then you
As
actually
opposed
pull a
to-
permit.
Permit, yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to what you're dealing with.
Yeah, so the only difference down here is this building is not sprinkled, so they didn't have the issue of obstructed sprinkler heads.
In 232, they at least applied for a permit.
Yeah,
In
I
December?
believe it was 232, so one of them applied, got denied, and then when they came in, when we caught them, they ratted out the second one.
But 232
without-
did respond to the sprinkler issue.
Yes, they sent whoever their building sprinkler guy is that handles the whole building.
So in addition to a liquor license at 152 South Main Street, there's likely a common vic license because it's a convenience store. And I assume this cooler is being used for items that aren't liquor.
I don't remember. Sure.
They might not, right? I mean, there's reach-in and there's walk-in in there.
Yeah, this
Your
is the,
enforcement authority is much clearer on liquor licenses than it is for common victualler licenses. So the MGL we'd be working under for a public hearing would be under your authority as a local licensing authority for liquor licenses.
But do we have to have a separate hearing on the common vic?
No, I hesitate to use the word casual, but they're more casual because they're not controlled by the ABCC.
So I'll make the same motion.
Okay, we have a motion for a public hearing in August on the potential revocation of the liquor license at 152 South Main Street in
Second.
Ridgedale. There is a second by Debbie. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, if any? Okay, that passes unanimously as well. So I appreciate you bringing this to the board's attention. Again, like I said earlier, do what you have to do.
Yep, well, I hope this gets their attention and they,
I expect it will.
you know,
Might I suggest
permits in place by
photographs
August.
or anything like that, that may be in order when we get to,
We'll get more documentation
Yeah.
for the fifth.
So,
well, hopefully we don't need it, but yeah, we'll get
right.
it.
But
just
if
so
it
we're
gets there.
clear, this isn't a board or the building commissioner being mean. This is a case of there's a lot of people that do things right.
Oh, yeah.
They hire the right people, they go through the process, they get approval, they answer your questions, they fulfill everything you're required, and then they build the spec.
Yep. This is really kind of a last straw.
This is
right? Bringing it
unfair
the
to
board.
those that follow the process.
Yep.
Now, the new liquor store that's going in, is there a cooler that's been installed yet in that one?
So, no, and I believe it's the same contractor who's doing the cooler. They had to go back to the zoning board. They got a modification to the plan that allowed a reduction in the parking, which I believe you guys
Yes.
also took up, but it allowed a small addition off the, where the back out of the building is for the cooler.
For a walk-in cooler.
Yes, and that, I believe the appeal period on the special permit just expired on that.
So have you been down there to lay your eyes on it?
The last time we were there was for a rough framing. Now they have to refile another building permit because they're putting the addition on the building for the cooler, which is changing the project.
So we're making an assumption the cooler hasn't been installed.
That I know it hasn't. You'd see it if you were driving down. We've been across the street with the work going on over there,
And I would greatly expect his permit is probably going to come in with a different installer.
we would hope,
One would.
yeah.
Is there, you mentioned across the street, is there good progress being made over there?
Slow and steady. You know, that was another one that, we finally, unfortunately, being nice for a long time and took not being so nice to get some results.
But they've got some permits and they're doing
Yep,
work and they're,
They got the permits for the structural repairs and the removal of the illegal work so far. They don't have any other permits other than that, but that was what they said they were gonna do. Come in, get the structural right, get all the illegal work out of there, and then kind of start over. And then they have some issues with, I think with the assessor as far as compliance inspections on their,
Yeah, the 61A.
Yeah.
Yep,
So-
because they don't farm.
Yeah.
If you're getting a tax rebate, exemption, whatever you want to call it, reduction, you're supposed to comply with the law. The law is written to be complied with, not do as you please.
So there's other than building and zoning issues on
Oh,
that
yeah.
one. That I know Brad's all over it, and he's been following up as well.
And that's on Town Liquors?
No,
No,
across the
that's
street.
on,
Farmer Brown.
Farmer
Don't
Brown's.
want, I didn't hear it, thank you.
Never a dull moment down your neighborhood, huh?
oh, have a nice evening.
Scott, thank you.
Thank you.
Scott,
Nice to
thank
see
you.
you all.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, would you entertain taking 7 through 10 out of order?
I would gladly entertain that.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move down to number 7 on the agenda, the updated use of force. I see my favorite captain in the room. You're also our only captain, but you're still
I
my
was
favorite.
going to say that.
Yep. Yeah, you can sit.
You back and square.
So, just to set the table here, the department has worked on updating their use of force policy, and under our process, this board approves.
Correct. And we brought it to you a few months
Yes.
back, along with a couple of other policies. There was a request by the union to have some back and forth, particularly on the use of force policy, because it was a major update from our previous use of force policy, given the environment and policing over the past many years, several years. So we had a conversation and just came up with 2 or 3 small changes to the policy that you already approved, mostly wording and some corrections, if you will, to there were a couple of forms that were referred to that we did not include purposely in the policy, so we updated some references there. We combined two forms. The union had requested, and we had a discussion, it made sense. There were two forms that were kind of duplicitous.
Duplicative?
Yes, duplicative. And just streamline some of the work that the officers have to do when we do engage in a use of force in terms of the paperwork that they have to fill out. Yeah, so it was really just cleaning up a lot of language, and I apologize having to bring it back to you for a second go-around, but just to make sure all our Ts are crossed and Is are dotted, we thought it was best to do so.
Okay. Any questions from the board for the captain? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to approve the updated use of force policy.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Jeff has made the motion. Is there a
I'll
second?
second.
Deb has seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, if any? Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you, Captain.
And thank you for taking me out of order.
Okay, next on the list, number 8 is annual appointments. You'll see attached as Appendix A, we have 4 appointments before us. Actually 3, and then 1 that this board has to make a recommendation to the moderator. So first is the Affordable Housing Trust. We have a vacancy for 2 years remaining on a 3-year term. For the at-large community seat. First off, a big thank you to Bill Renault, who had served on that committee. I serve as the chair. Bill has a pretty busy professional activities going on, but also other boards that he serves on in town, both our building committee and our Board of Appeals, and had to step down. So we have before us tonight Chief Thomas Martinook, who has thrown his hat into the ring. So Chief, come on up.
Mr. Chair, they are 2-year terms for the at-large members.
I
It's
thought they were
not-
3-year terms.
No, we can only legally do 2-year terms.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
The other appointments are 3 years, though.
The other appointments are 3 years if you're a liaison,
Yeah.
but only till the end of your term or 3 years, whatever comes.
Whichever
sooner.
comes first. Okay, well, I stand corrected. So, Tom, floor is yours.
What would you like me to say?
Introduce yourself. Nice to meet you.
For those who don't know me, Tom Martinook, I'm a lifelong resident, just retired almost 3 years ago from the fire department as fire chief. And I'm happy to serve on the boards. I'm on the finance committee now and been volunteered for a couple others that I'm thinking about, so it's a good thing.
Well, you'll be a welcome addition to the board. I'm glad we're doing this tonight because we have a meeting tomorrow night.
You know,
So,
Thursday night.
is it Thursday night?
Thought it was Thursday.
Today's Tuesday.
Hang on, sorry.
I
Check it.
should know this, huh? I'm the chair. Well, we have a meeting this week.
Thursday.
It is Thursday night. Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Well,
You would have attended the planning board meeting in this.
yes, well, I think we may have a new chair of the Affordable Housing Trust soon, at least the guy that knows when it is.
Doing a great job.
So, so I'd like to see this board make this appointment tonight. So I don't know if anybody has any questions for Tom. I appreciate you for standing up and serving. We're doing some really interesting things on the Affordable Housing Trust now. One of them is at our next meeting on Thursday night. We'll be finalizing what looks to be agreement with Habitat for Humanity, and we're going to be developing a program of loans and grants for individuals to make their house accessible due to accessibility issues, but also upgrades due to a lot of things that your successor is uncovering in his effort of visiting a lot of homes in town, of updates that are needed and opportunities to keep people in their home as they're aging in place. So,
I'll move to appoint Tom Martinook for 2 years to the Affordable Housing Trust.
I'll second that.
and that was for a term through June 30th, 2027. Okay, so there is a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Just, if I could, thank you for everything you've done and continue to do, Tom, for volunteer for town. Thank you very much.
Same with
Thank you.
me.
Thanks for
Thank you, Tom.
volunteer.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, if any? Sounded unanimous to me. Congratulations, Tom. So go visit Eileen, and we'll see you Thursday night. Okay, next is the Patriotic Observances Committee, which a big thank you to the committee and the work that they've been doing. We just had some successful events in town and continue to do so. We have Matthew Daly, who has expressed an interest in a 3-year term. Matthew, come on up. So here's your opportunity to introduce yourself to the board and the folks at home.
Pleased to meet you. Matt Daly, 172 Boston Street. I've lived here for going on 6 years now. And I've attended numerous meetings as an observer of the Patriotic Observers Committee, and Bob Wall contacted me informing me there's going to be a couple of vacancies, so I'm more than happy to help out. I've been taking part in the Veterans Day, Memorial Day services, and Breeze Across America, among other things.
Great.
Wonderful.
Well, we appreciate it. Your involvement already with the committee and attending the meetings, but also willing to stand up and serve. So thank you very much.
My pleasure.
I would entertain a motion.
And a recommendation from Bob Wall, this is everything to me, so I'll make a nomination to appoint.
Okay, so we have a motion for Matthew Daly for a
Second.
3-year term. We have a second, and this will be through June 30th, 2028. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, if any? That is unanimous also.
Thank you
very
So
much.
go down and see our town clerk. You'll get to raise your hand and get officially sworn in.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you.
Matt, thank you for serving. Okay, and third on our appointment is the Zoning Board of Appeals. We have a vacancy right now for an alternate position. For those at home and those in the room, an alternate position serves as a member of the Zoning Board of Appeal, and when needed, due to either a full member not being able to participate, or a vacancy, or having to recuse themselves, the alternate steps in and serves as a full member would in that case. And we have with us this evening Anthony Marabito.
Mr. Chair, there's a typo, that's my fault.
Oh.
It's a 1-year term, apologies. The
Okay.
Alternates can only be 1-year terms. That's my,
I should know that also, but
that's okay.
thank you for taking the,
I acknowledge that
thanks
that's wrong.
thanks for explaining. So, Anthony, this is a 1-year term, and I should have known this as well. Our alternate members of Planning Board, Board of Appeals, only serve as a 1-year term. So I thank you for your interest in serving, and here's your opportunity to introduce yourself to us and the folks at home.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and those on the board. My name is Anthony Mirabito, 8 Nichols Lane. I've been in town now for 25 years, and I'm a Danvers native, so I've really been hanging around here a lot longer than
Defected
that.
over the border, I see.
So I've just some background on me. Babson College, Bachelor of Science in Finance. Some work at Harvard Extension School in Capital Markets and Economics. 3 years of law school, although I never sat for the bar. It was an academic pursuit for me. Did take a couple of zoning classes at that time. A developer, small-time developer. I also put my name in the hat for the Housing Authority. Just figured, I've been here for long time, 25 years in town now, and all I've done is paid property taxes, so I hope to be here another 25. And I see the work that you do, and some of it involves some sweat, so I thought I'd help out a bit in any way that I can.
You'll still have to pay your property taxes. So, Anthony, if you've watched any of our meetings, and I'm sure every other Tuesday night you love to watch our meetings, but whenever we have an appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals, or to a vacancy on the Planning Board, or to the planning alternate, there's always a question that I ask, so I'm going to ask it of you. So you mentioned that you're a developer. I'm not sure, do you do real estate also, or are you a licensed real estate?
I'm a licensed real estate salesperson.
Okay.
I own some rental property that I manage.
Yep.
The last flip I did was in Danvers about 4 years ago. The largest project that I did was in Salem. I was the equity partner for the C.F. Tompkins building at 281 Essex Street. That was a 35,000 square foot development, 23 condos, 5 commercial units. So I've got experience on that side. Not active anymore. I'm retired.
Okay.
That's why I'm here, because.
Yeah, and that was part of my question is.
I'm
if-
not busy on Tuesday nights, if that's what you're
Well,
asking.
no, it's not just busy. One of the things that I'm pretty adamant about is,
Yeah.
do you have any plans of doing any development within the town of Middleton
No,
as you sit
no,
as a
not
planning?
at all, no, those days are behind me. No, I'm on a glide path right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if that ever did become the case, would you recuse yourself?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. Have to.
Okay. I'll open it up. Any other board members have questions?
Move to appoint Anthony Marabito to a one-year term as a zoning board of appeal alternate.
Second.
Okay, so there is a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I do not.
Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, if any? Okay, that sounded unanimous to me as well, Anthony. Say the same thing that I said to the other two. Go down and
Way
see
down Town
Eileen,
Hall?
raise your hand.
Okay.
I know just the other day, there was a zoning board of appeals meeting, and they were short a member, weren't able to have a quorum, so if you were there, you would have already gotten your hands in, so jump aboard, and thanks for serving.
That's every Tuesday night or every
Once a
I
month,
think once a
the
month.
fourth Thursday of the month.
fourth Thursday of the month?
Third Thursday?
Okay.
Normally,
Our town planner will also be in touch with you to get you acquainted and get you going.
I've got a schedule. I'm in, taking my oath.
Yeah.
And
Okay, great.
the other thing I'd welcome you to take advantage of, and I'm sure the town administrator's office will send this over to you, we have some materials available to you as a new board member of just what it means to be a member of the board, your role, and all of those things that can help orient you to just being on a board, never mind where the town planner and your fellow ZBA members can help you on being an actual ZBA member.
Yeah, I'd like to find out about the protocols. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Okay.
Anthony, thank you for serving. I appreciate it.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, the fourth on the annual appointments is the select board member designated to the master plan committee. I have been it, but I want to be very honest, asking somebody else to stand for this because I just know I don't have the bandwidth. So who's the lucky gentleman or lady that would like to be the nominee to be brought to our moderator for appointment?
Brian, I'm sorry, I zoned out. I totally didn't hear anything you just said.
Sounded like she was willing to do it. Is what it sounded like. That's what it sounded like. Zoning, master plan
Didn't
committee
even hear it.
designee. Sounds like you may be interested?
I didn't say that. I didn't hear anything.
So is there anybody that would be interested in being the designee?
I don't have the time.
I've done it, I was on that committee for 20 years. You know, I think you gotta let somebody else do
So,
it.
Brian, I'm serious when I say I didn't hear what you
Oh,
said.
I thought you were saying because you didn't want to do it.
No, I honestly.
So,
I
Debbie,
was taking notes.
okay, Debbie, so I am currently the designee of this board to the master plan committee. It's time to do an appointment recommendation to the moderator for that appointment. I just don't have the bandwidth to continue. So I was asking if there anybody else on this board, Debbie, that would like to serve as the select board's designee to the master plan committee.
What does it entail? I have a couple questions.
You will be a full member of the master plan committee. Some are appointed by, actually, they're all appointed by the moderator, correct? They're all appointed by the moderator. So our master plan is coming back up for refresh.
Yep, so it's the Middleton 300 was the active master plan, so I'd say a year or two in advance of hitting the 300th, which is 2028, you're gonna start that work with the committee, so I'd say
And this is the
next
stuff
year-
that's starting to show up on Anna's radar screen of, if you remember during our budget hearing, we were talking about
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
schedules of what was happening around master plan, bylaw, et cetera. So it's, I would say, right now, the work is minimal. Leading into a town meeting, if there's an item that would be affected. But I would say probably a year to a year and a half from more work as that committee puts together a new master plan. And I just know I don't have the bandwidth.
I'll do it.
Thank you, Debbie. I
Welcome.
appreciate it. I'm glad you could hear me. Okay, so we have somebody that'd be interested. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to appoint,
Well, we don't appoint.
Well, we
I'm
appoint
sorry,
the
to
designee.
designate to
Recommend.
the moderator, Deb Carboni, for selectment.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, if any? Okay, Debbie, now it's up to the moderator. You're going to do your,
Yeah.
you know. Thank you. I appreciate you doing that.
Thank
I'll
you,
get in
Deb.
touch with her.
Okay, next on the agenda, number 9. Did you ask for 7, 8, 9, and 10 to be taken? Okay, number 9. We try to do this at 6, but we've had a long agenda and we're behind. Public comment. Is there anybody in the audience here this evening that has a burning desire to be heard on an issue? Come on up. Introduce yourself. Just so we're clear for folks at home and those here, public comment is a process in public meetings. However, this board does not usually entertain a debate over that comment. We may add it to a future agenda.
So this is the public comment period for Memorial Hall and Locust Street, is that?
Oh, no. This is just the open general public comment of anything that's on your mind.
Is there a special time when I would talk about that, or
Right after this.
right after this? I'll come back.
Okay, sorry, I should have clarified when I said public comment. So, anybody else for public comment? Okay, hearing none. Okay, next on the agenda is the discussion of, a public discussion on our continuing process of surplus town properties as we continue to move closer towards the go live of our municipal campus project. And by the way, to echo Justin's previous comments in his section, this board in the future is going to be coming up with a name for that facility instead of just calling it the municipal complex. But as part of the new municipal complex going live, we have been having discussions around the disposition or the future use or mothballing of all of our facilities. Our town meeting has already given us approval to the movement of the sale of the police station. We continue to move down the road of our current fire facility, our current old town hall, which is our current council on aging and senior center. And tonight we're here to talk about 2 other properties. One of them is Memorial Hall, our current town hall, that will be vacated completely once all of those functions are moved to the new municipal complex. And at the request of several members of this board, to further discussion around the Locust Street property, which several years ago town meeting gave authority and approval to this board to dispose of that property. And as there's been some discussions internally in this board of what to do with Memorial Hall, there's been some discussions that Memorial Hall and Locust together may be a more attractive opportunity for someone that may want to do something around affordable housing or other items. I will state, and in our package tonight, there is a lot of information. We have previously had received a grant, back when we were able to receive grants, from the Mass Office of Business Development that supported us with some visioning and some early discussions around what could potentially happen at Memorial Hall. As part of that, we did an outreach to the community where surveys were taken. We got some really interesting input. Some of the comments were affordable housing, other comments. Somebody had a comment that it would be a great location for a senior center or a community center. We reminded them that we're building a new one just down the street. There was some comments of the building coming down and Route 62 continuing straight over to Maple Street. There was other comments around utilization for housing and other items. What did become very clear in the input that we received is that the open space and the recreational space that is there at our current town common remain as such. So tonight was an opportunity for us to continue on this discussion. I don't think we're leaving here with a decision, but I think we're hopefully leading with some more input from the public of what they would like to see, and any further use or disposition of that property would have to be entertained by a town meeting vote as well. Anything else I'm missing, Justin?
That's about it. I would just also offer, in addition to this not being the only evening it will be discussed, more than likely the next step is taking input from the board this evening, also input from the public, and using that to craft a first draft of an RFP that will then bring forward to a future meeting, which will probably be the ultimate determination moving forward.
Okay, so before I open up to public comment, I know there may be some
Questions
Yeah.
first. Where is the septic system for Memorial Hall?
In the back, under the
under the
park-
park.
Parking, under the parking lot.
It's a cesspool also.
It's a cesspool,
It's quite old.
so anything that's happening there will need a new septic.
Correct.
All right, and the parcel as is would have to be subdivided if we were to dispose of something, because we would want to keep parking for the recreation area.
Correct. So for example, if you kept the existing footprint, whether it be the physical structure now or something built within the same footprint, you would want to carve out enough space to assign, say if it were 6 units of affordable housing, you'd want to carve out 12 parking spots, and then the remainder would stay with the town.
And that would also include an easement for access.
Yeah, right away.
Right away.
One of the things, right now, the exit from that property is precarious, since it does not align with the intersection, and trying to make either go straight, to turn left, or turn right, is not particularly easy. So
Even though it has a light, those across from the intersection assume it doesn't have a light. They view it as a driveway.
I think for the future, it would be much safer for whatever happens if the exit is on the same side as the entrance, away from the cemetery and better aligned to the intersection.
The problem that you have with that, if the building stands as it stands, is there's not enough width there for,
I understand, so.
the addition on that building would have to come down.
Correct. I think, the facade of the building, the main building, not the additions, I think that's important. And, replicating the facade, yeah, I think would be great. I don't want the town to own that property if it becomes housing, because towns make terrible landlords. And, if it's not sold, what's it going to be? Keeping it for the town is just another expense of maintaining a building. And for what use? We just, build, lots of office space. What are we missing that we would need? So, and trying to retrofit that building for some affordable housing or any housing, I think becomes more expensive than taking it down, replicating the facade, and building, a better sustainable structure.
I don't disagree with anything you said.
Nope. Neither do I.
I mean, it's a beautiful building on the outside. The inside is tired.
It's gone through so many changes and renovations. I mean, I'm not sure if anything on the inside is historic.
It's not. Might find something up in the gallery or up in the old meeting room if you dig
So
deep, but
I will
that's about it.
I will say the Affordable Housing Trust, we've also been talking about if there's opportunities with properties in town, whether it's our properties or others, to highlight bringing in a partner to do something affordable. Harbor Light and other organizations, and I know we've been having some at least prelim outreach with Harbor Light, and I think they're going to be coming shortly at some point to the Affordable Housing Trust. My recommendation was we don't have that meeting in a vacuum. It should probably be a joint meeting of the Affordable Housing Trust and the Select Board together, so both boards can hear what an organization like that could do. I would tell you, many organizations that will want to do something like that will want to own the property. So to your point, Costa, of not wanting to be a landlord, there's a lot of items that come to play being a landlord that just, who's managing it on the town side, and what does that look like? Is that one more big thing you put on the plate of the town administrator, the assistant town administrator, the property, the DPW, who is it? But I think to Justin's point, the opportunity to issue an RFP around, this is what we're thinking, who might be interested, not an RFP to get right to a decision, an RFP to see, are there organizations out there? Secondly, if that property becomes an affordable opportunity, we have, through the RFP process, the ability to kind of design what that looks like, or negotiate what that looks like, rather than, here's the zoning, you do, we sell it, you do what you want. I just don't know what that looks like.
There's a cesspool, but we need a septic system. I don't know the difference between a cesspool and a septic system.
I'll tell you after.
I do.
But, is there the ability to have a septic system? Because, if you can't redevelop it for housing, if the area near that building can't sustain a septic system.
That's really, honestly, in my opinion, the only viable reuse for that building would be housing. I don't think there's any need that I can
I
think of.
agree with you. I agree
other than
completely.
housing.
Yeah, and I think the town, when we went out and we spoke around, that certainly was the feeling. The septic is a huge point.
Yep.
Because you're gonna keep the park and you're gonna keep some parking, then you better hope that the area, provided with the remaining parking lot, is gonna be enough to sustain it. But more than that, I think I want to emphasize that the facade has to be the major, I will insist on it to the end, because regardless of what comes of it, because it has that charm that I don't want to see leave, and it's not for anybody's driving, but it's for the people in town. I mean, we lose that, and it's gone forever.
Yep.
So.
Yep, I agree 100%.
I agree. So, to that point, I mean, there is, what you were saying is, we would have to have access for parking, access for right-of-way. What we do have is, with the fields and the park that's there, an ability that there could be some easement and access around septic if there is a need. I think we have to determine what septic requirements would look like there, and what costs would be, to understand if we are gonna partner with somebody and/or relinquished ownership of that property to something that's gonna look, and have an affordable component to it. We need to understand what those costs look like. And one last thing I'd add is, I think this is different than like the police station or even Locust Street, where we're gonna be looking at, what is the value of the property? I view, to Jeff's point, if this is gonna be housing, I'd like to see an affordable component to it, both for residents in town and/or employees in town.
Yep.
To be able to be in this town or remain in this town. So I think we have the ability here, because it's a small parcel, we're asking that we're gonna have to take some of that land for parking and an easement. We have the
And a
ability.
restriction on the facade.
And the restriction on the facade and certain things. We probably have the ability to do some negotiating here that may not be, if the property is sold, the value we may want, that it would be if it was just sold outright, but the longer-term value is the facade, the affordability, now on the tax rolls, easement, access to our park, and parking.
Yep. But the obstacle is septic. the
Yeah,
number
there
one
will be.
obstacle.
And I think, we need, that needs to be explored, and, so, I think, it would, in that exploration, it would be helpful to know what kind of size we'd be looking at. I mean, I think 4 two-bedroom apartments is about right.
Yeah.
So that's about the size of a septic system. That's, I see Jeff nodding, so but I don't know what, anybody else, Justin, you had mentioned 6 units. I think that might be too much. But we have some funds that were appropriated for investigating the reuse of these properties, and can we use those to sort of do some exploration of, is there the ability somewhere on that 1.2 acre lot to have a septic system?
I mean, if that building's moved, the septic may go right where the building is
No,
right now.
I wouldn't want it to move.
Me either.
Well, but then
I think you
then
have
you may be
to.
looking at less than 4 units, because if that addition comes down on the side.
No. I'm saying the whole building comes down.
Yes,
But
but
you
rebuilding the
rebuild-
same footprint?
You rebuilt the facade in the same place.
Yeah.
The rest, can be a square, can be a little off this way. So
you're saying tear down new construction using the same facade?
or rebuilding the facade to look
like it.
exactly like it is.
The cost to do that, I mean,
Well, I mean, that-
I sure there's more people know better than I do, but the cost to replicate or versus reuse the current facade, I believe is gonna be more costly to the town than it is to rebuild but replicate. I could be wrong.
I think you're right, and the town would need to understand, in order for us to have those caveats, that it's gonna cost us in whatever a sale price would be, which makes I'm wondering if that, given that, if we had and knew exactly what we wanted to do, would, looking at perhaps going to auction rather than straight list.
Well,
Does that maybe-
we have to by law do an RFP. We can't,
The proposals will tell you whether or not there's an appetite. You very well could put it back with all the parameters the board provided and whatever feedback you get from your neighbors tonight. And you could put it out and get no response. Or you could get a couple firms that say, yeah, we could do this, but not that. Or if we did this, we would want a CPC match or something.
so are you recommending an RFI instead of an RFP?
I mean, either would be appropriate, honestly, in this situation. A proposal, like I would take any type of proposal.
You could start with an RFI that would help you develop the RFP
Yeah, just to
as well.
narrow it
We would
down.
put we would put parameters initially that we want the facade to stay,
Right.
so people don't waste their time.
Yeah, you could give all
Waste
of
our
that as
time.
part of the
Right.
scope.
And you could find that is too much for people. And if that's the case, then you can talk about it again. And-
Well, then pairing it up with
Then
Locust
they
Street, 'cause
won't.
Right,
it'd
yeah.
never be too much.
Yeah, you're not bound to anything. You're not bound to anything.
Someone do both.
Yeah, and I want to be clear. I want to maintain the look of that facade, whether it's maintaining, the existing structure or replicating it with new. To me, it's irrelevant
I
as
agree with
long
you.
as the look is the same.
And the positioning.
Yes, I agree.
So I think based on that feedback, what I will go ahead and do just to get the ball rolling beyond drafting an RFP is having a firm come out and maybe do some site work to determine
Test pits.
if it could support 4 to 6, and I only say 4 to 6 because there is a third story to that building. It's deceivingly large
Yes.
with really good ceiling.
It's
height.
hard to put 4 to 6.
Nobody wants to go up there today.
That's a lot of walking, yeah, and then very hot. But at least to give you an idea, right? And then that, I think, can be packaged into either the RFI or RFP.
So just that we're clear, the facade, the footprint doesn't have to be like, could the building, under your scenario, cost to be bigger in the back?
Yeah. I want to preserve this.
Yes.
Yes.
The face.
Yeah. You know,
Roof
and-
line,
The
Yeah.
front elevation
Yes.
and roof
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That I want to, that's
Does the
what,
addition go?
everything else can
Everything
go.
else.
The addition
to go.
has to go if
You're not
you're
gonna have
lining
an
up at that
option.
intersection.
Is there any, since we're on the topic of the appearance, is there any interest in restoring the historic cupola as a requirement?
Restoring the historic cupola as a requirement.
No.
no,
Thought I'd
Not
ask.
for,
Well, I think it's up to the developer.
yeah.
You know, some of them are interested in it.
Mr. Chair, are you
Okay.
taking comment on
Yeah, I'm
this
going to, I
matter?
just want to make sure, anybody else on the board have any questions? Okay, I'll open it up to comment. If you're going to come up and speak on this, just for the purposes of minutes, please give your name and address.
Hi, is this on?
Yes, that's more for TV than. in the
Okay.
room.
It does not amplify you, and we have the AC, so you may want to speak up.
Okay, let me know. Rachel Nemeth, 29 North Main Street. Thank you for this public comment period. I really appreciate the opportunity to share some of my thoughts and ideas with you all and with anyone who may be listening online. The first comment that comes to my mind is I was actually there for the presentation by I think it was called something Lutz was
Yeah,
the
Lutz.
Studio Luz.
Studio Luz, thank you, that they did. And I recall the numbers of the survey results that they had. And I think that's important to talk about the actual results because I'm hearing a lot of talk about housing units. However, of 159 people surveyed, only about 24 of them, 1/7 of the people, were even interested in turning that property into units, whereas, oh, I'm sorry, wrong numbers. Hold on, those will be later. Out of 159 people that were surveyed, people's idea of what Middleton is missing is recreation and community space or community programming. And I know that sometimes people talk about the new municipal complex as a solution to that. However, and you can correct me if I'm mistaken, I don't anticipate that there's going to be a lot of community meeting space there. So I would assume that we still are in great need of alternate meeting spaces. Is there?
There will be a significant increase in community meeting space, both.
In
they'll-
both buildings.
Like, we will no longer be meeting at this library, at this school library. A lot of meetings that happen at the current library now will move over there. But what is also, it'll be so exciting when people actually get to see it in person. I've luckily been able to take a tour. There is going to be, a lot of people call it the Council on Aging Senior Center. It's going to be a community center. There's going to be a very large area that will be utilized for all kinds of meetings. But upstairs, in the building that has an elevator, will also be a subdividable room as well that can be used and for multiple meetings. So one of the things that I give the building committee a lot of credit for is they thought both current and long-term about future meeting and community meeting space, and not just the zoning board of appeals, but I don't know, the Campfire Girls or the local organization that needs meeting space. That right now, their only place is our Flint Library.
So would you be able to clarify for me? So a lot of the buildings that have meeting space now will need that new space for their meetings. So how will it turn out that there's more meeting space? Like, it sounds
Because
like
we actually have a number of conference rooms that'll be in there that'll be utilized by departments, boards. For example, there's going to be a small room that the select board could be having a meeting, where next door the finance committee could be having a meeting, where on the other side the zoning board of appeals could be having a meeting at the same time. We can't do that right now in Middleton. Even, and remember, the building that we have now at Memorial Hall, we can't have
We
public
can't have
meetings
a
in
public
upstairs.
meeting in.
Our big meeting space up there is used for storage because it's not accessible.
Yes, I've actually attempted to reserve that room for community meeting space and was unable to do so.
Correct.
So I understand that there's space for municipal activities, but I would love to see more space where I could meet with my neighbors or hold something in a large event type of room where we would have space.
If I could interrupt, so
Oh, yes.
that's just on the town building side. On the public safety building side, and maybe Tom's in the room, not to put you on the spot, but when you look at it, it's fire to the right, police to the left. It's a common area entry, and there's a very large meeting space that's going to be open to the public in there as well.
Will those be
The
used?
library space should get freed up more, because that would be the appropriate space that you could reserve for a group like you're talking, and that space should get freed up immensely when some of those
perfect
groups.
example is, I've gotten calls from condo facilities in town that has to do an annual meeting. That really, the only place they've been able to use is the library. In the museum space as well. And, part of what we envision in the new municipal complex is local condo complexes having their annual meetings. The local meeting of the so-and-so bird watching group can meet there, not just for municipal boards or town-affiliated organizations.
Oh, great. That's good news. So that's great that one of Middleton's main concerns will be helped by the new complex. The next survey that I started to talk about was actually 220 people. A fifth of those or so, I think, were interested in some type of housing, whether it was affordable housing or low density housing or whatever it was. But 4/5 of those, they wanted Memorial Hall to be preserved as more in the recreation green space, community programming space area. So Middleton clearly wants Memorial Hall as a community green recreational space. And there was a third survey that Studio Lutz did in which they asked, what does Middleton not want to see? And housing and I think maybe retail were the top least desired, the top most concerning things to Middleton. And all I'm hearing about after Middleton clearly spoke, 4/5 of Middleton wants recreation green space, and all I'm hearing is how can we tear down this beautiful historical building and make it into what Middleton absolutely does not want. Middleton actually, as you probably all know, is historically as a community, we had the reputation of being the refuge of the surrounding towns. For them to come and vacation here, to have recreation, people used to boat and picnic around our reservoir. And now the top thing that people miss here is recreation and green space and things to do outside and in the community. We have this property. We could do amazing things with it if we got creative and had ideas. So I would love to see more meetings like this that are, I know this was advertised on the town website, but so many people in Middleton don't know about it. And I know because I texted a bunch of people and said, hey, are you going? And they had no idea. And a lot of people, that was yesterday, they didn't have time to change their plans and come. And I think it would be really a great thing to offer a series of sort of like roundtables that are better publicized so that people in the community can come together. And when we have a few people talking about it, our ideas are limited. But if we have a lot of people from the town using their creativity, their areas of expertise to all contribute ideas, I think we could do something really amazing with the property, something that we could maybe save money on some of these expenses. Like just as we were talking, I had a few ideas that came to me. If we did preserve the property, for example, I like the idea of repairing it as is and not repurposing it. So when we convert a building that's designed for one function to another function, that's a really expensive process. However, the layout was originally, I believe, for a school, and it would really be well suited for some kind of maybe combination of museum and community center with space for, I know one popular thing is like a board game cafe in some rooms, or different things that the community might suggest, and then little rooms modeled after, for example, a children's museum with a little individual rooms dedicated to different topics, whether it's Native Americans or local plant life or historical things about the town. The layout is perfect for that as it is and would take a few tweaks. As for the septic cesspool problem, I would love for the community to brainstorm about how we could fix that. One idea that came to me is that our beaches have composting toilets. So I don't know if that's a possibility. I know Salisbury Beach, I think that's the one that has composting toilets. A ton of people go to the beach. If the beach can support people with a few composting toilets, I think we might have some solutions or possibilities. I think I said most of what was on my mind. If there's anything else I missed.
So I think one thing we're probably in vehement agreement on is green space. I think this board is adamant about keeping the green space in the fields in the, it's our current town common.
Yeah, and, the lots presentations and discussions involved both the 1.2 acre parcel where Memorial Hall is on and the 6.2 acre parcel that is the fields, the bandstand and wetlands. So a lot of the comments about
For the whole.
preserving green space refer to the 6.2 acre lot. You can't really create more green space on the 1.2 acre lot because that's where the parking is for the 6.2 acre lot. And so how could people use the fields and the green space if they don't have any place to park nearby? So
And I, every time someone says that, I have to say, just on the fields and recreation, we have how many? We have Fuller Meadow, we have the current Memorial Hall track and field, we have Rub Chinook, we have Rail Trail,
The transfer station.
and we have the transfer station. And as far as green space, we basically, I'd put Rub Chinook Field in that category, but if you don't want to, we're gonna have the new town common out in front of the new municipal complex. We're gonna have
Everything
20-something
behind.
acres behind it for passive recreation,
recreation.
walking trails behind the municipal complex, including the agreement that Pike Nessinger made from coming off of Boston Street behind the Blue Haven that will join that 20-plus.
not necessarily.
Well, I'm just saying, when people say there's no space for parks and recreation, I don't know what to look at.
I think, while I appreciated the work that Studio Loose did, I think they were trying to open up a dialogue of hearing what the town wanted. And I think maybe we probably, as a board, could have given them a little bit more direction. What stood out to me on the Studio Loose is the one area, other than green space, which, to Costa's point, if you take that 6.2 acres and put it aside, that is green space. The reality is, if we turned the remainder into green space, it would be where the building is, and that's it. The rest of the parking would have to remain. If not, there's no sense having a field if there's nobody can park at. But I actually saw the survey a little bit differently than you did. I saw the number that talked about housing. Now, you got to remember, this survey was happening the same time that across the street was proposing 200 units, and everybody's head was exploding across town. Literally simultaneous to that discussion that was happening, Studio Loose was asking about affordable housing. And everybody said, we don't need affordable housing. Well, not everybody. But here's what I'll tell you. The average home price in the town of Middleton today is over $950,000. There is no affordable housing in this town. And Jackie will like this. I don't mean just big A or little a affordable housing. I mean the reality is seniors are struggling to age in place. My kids are never going to be able to live in this town. And we're in jeopardy of becoming a one-generation town, where you were raised here, you go to school here, you graduate, and then you have to leave. 4 units is going to make a little ding, maybe 6 units, a little ding in that. Our municipal employees, 15 years ago, probably 70% of our employees lived in town. Ask the fire chief, how many of your firefighters, back when we could use our reserve firefighters part-time, lived in town? None of them live in town now. Our chief does. A couple of our full-timers do. It's the reality. So I appreciate what Studio Loose did. Really appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
We absolutely are on board with you on green space. I will tell you, as a member of this board, and town meeting will be the one that will ultimately determine the ability to do something with this property. We'll make a recommendation to town meeting. I don't want to be a landlord, me or any future board or administration, because I will tell you, even if we did a little bit of renovation to that building, we are right at the edge where we have to put an elevator in and we have to sprinkle the building. And if we had to do those 2 items, you're now talking unaffordable. Now add a septic to that, now add, poor Eileen sits in an office where the wind comes blowing in the winter. The building really, it's beautiful on the outside.
And on the inside, it is so beautiful inside.
It's just really needs to be updated. I mean, we don't even have truly accessible bathrooms there.
Well, I totally agree with what you said about the concern about the affordability of our housing and about the need to enable aging residents or children of residents to stay. And so that kind of brings up another idea. And again, this is why I think it would be great to have some roundtables where townspeople could come in and just brainstorm about
Tonight won't be the only bite at the
all
apple.
of these problems versus what could we come up with for solutions. So one of the ideas I heard was having a developer take both property like Memorial Hall and
Locust.
also the Locust Street property, which what number is that? By the way, I couldn't find that online. What number is
have a
it?
street
It's
number.
0.
Yeah, it's 0 Locust Street.
It's
If you look at the
0.
map, it stands out pretty clearly. You'll see it.
Okay.
It's where the Howe Manning School was proposed to be back in the day.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
conservation sign there on the right, just
Part of it will
before
remain
Copper
as
Mine Road,
conservation.
if you pull up in there. General area.
So one of the ideas was that a developer would be interested in taking the pair of properties. And I'm thinking, if a developer could make that profitable, why couldn't Middleton? Because Middleton is in the habit, I think, of selling off every profitable venture that we possibly could and letting developers take all the profit. Our taxes are going up. Our properties are getting more expensive. If we don't change that pattern, and we got here because of our choices. And I'd like to see some different, more creative thinking, different choices where we could think of things in a different way. Land is more valuable than money. Land keeps giving back. You can develop that, and by develop, I don't mean mow it down, mow it over, and clear it and put some housing on it. I mean use it to its fullest, amazing capacity. You can get recurring income if you use it well. And I would like to see Middleton maybe consider not ruling out being landlords or having some kind of arrangement, maybe appointing someone like we have for so many responsibilities in town. I was a property manager. It is a nightmare sometimes. I totally get that. My family, we were the landlords. If you get a bad tenant, it is the worst. However, I would still love to see Middleton not continue to become so highly taxed and yet so poor in the resources that we all moved here or stayed here for. And that's mainly my comment for today. I'm sorry it took a long time, but I really appreciate you listening and giving me the opportunity to share some of my thoughts and ideas.
Rachel, before you take off, move, thank you for all your thoughts. They're all wonderful. there's a couple of points that I would like to point out. Number one, for the town to even consider being a landlord, that we're not in that business. I own multifamily investment properties. For us to even think about becoming a landlord is, number one, we don't have the manpower. We don't have the tools. We don't need to be a landlord. That, I think, would be setting the town up for a lot of liability. You stated that you and your family have been involved in multifamily and landlording, so you know where I'm coming from. It can take one tenant. The town does not need, in my opinion, the town does not need to take on that kind of liability. And that can be a big liability. If we have to go to housing court, you know how that works. You've been there. I mean, half the time it doesn't work in the landlord's favor. And actually, I'm going to correct myself on that. 95% of the time, it does not work itself out for the landlord. Tenant always walks out of there with the win. The other point that I'd like to make out, and Brian did touch base on some of this, and a point taken on Memorial Hall and possibly being able to do something with it recreational wise or whatever, and creativity. I love that thought, except for this board and the taxpayers of Middleton have to consider what that cost is going to look like, because that cost to repair, and no matter what we do, even if we put, like you said, the game and the coffee new thing that's coming up, I hear they're really big in Pennsylvania right now and they're migrating this way. That being said, we still have to be in compliancy. We have to put an elevator in there. We have to put in the wide doorways. We have to have the ramps. The ramp that we just did is temporary, really, and we only did it to get us back until the municipal complex was built. And the only other point that I want to make to you is, well, to everyone, when this board decides to sell property that we currently own, like, say, a piece of vacant land to an abutter, because it serves no purpose to us to hold on to it, to keep it in our, base. We're putting that property back on the tax rolls. So that's actually a positive in our revenues. It's not a negative. When we sell property, it's a positive. It's going back in the tax rolls. So that, I just wanted to clarify that. Anytime we sell it, it's going back on the tax rolls.
I agree with so much of what you said. However, I also agree with so much of what I said, and I would just love for the town to be able to take things that you brought up, these are all sticky, problematic issues, but I think there's a great way forward if we're patient and we invite many minds to contribute, much creativity, and I think we could do something really cool. And I think we do need to do something differently, because we are, like we can all see, our taxes are going up. So the choices we've been making are obviously not the right ones. I think we should look at different things and see if we can make other things.
That's where I'm going to disagree with you. Our taxes have gone up. Part of it is because for 30 to 40 years, this town ignored its infrastructure. We jammed a fire department in a building that was also the DPW facility. Our town hall was a former high school. Our senior center was elementary school. Our senior center was a former town hall, and for 30 to 40 years, our police station we got from from $1 from the town of Danvers. And our brand-new town administrator at the time, we have a picture of him watching it being wheeled down the street.
And then we put portable
and then we
classrooms
took
on
an
the
old
side.
portable classroom that literally had outlived its life, and I said to our former chief, we put a double wide on the side of the police station. So for 40 years, this town ignored its infrastructure.
That's a problem.
And then it finally came due, and the taxpayers overwhelmingly stood up and said yes. Why? Because we had to buy a new ladder truck, and we were going to have to pay more for a ladder truck because a conventional one wouldn't fit in the station. We had fire equipment that was outside under a tarp.
I remember that
So
discussion.
I disagree that we are, the decisions we made were willy-nilly. No, we did 40 years of willy-nilly decisions, and then finally the taxpayers, this and previous boards, stood up and said, enough. And the voters, and quite honestly, longtime Middletonians and brand-new Middletonians stood up in unison and invested. I appreciate, and I'm paying more taxes gladly every single day. But I will disagree with the comment that we're making bad decisions that are leading to tax increases.
I didn't mean
I mean,
that
I
to
think
be
we're making
the wording
really
that
good
I-
decisions for today and 40 years into the future.
I think that's valid. I respect that perspective. However, my perspective is we're doing things, and we could find a better way to do them where we get the best of both worlds. That's all I'm saying. I think that we are good in some areas and we could improve in some areas. I don't think what we're doing is working for people because a lot of people are suffering. They're getting pinched more and more, and I would like to see a solution that combines the best of everything. That's all I'm saying.
I appreciate it, Rachel. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I know we have some other folks in the audience. Is there anybody else that would like to be heard? Yeah, sure.
The Locust Street location, is that the conservation area?
Well, there's two parcels there. There's one that is deemed and must stay as conservation, and then the parcel that abuts it and behind it and around it, kind of, is the parcel that we're talking about, that we actually as a town purchased with the understanding that we went to town meeting to actually get approval to put a school there. And town said no, twice.
Yes.
And then the third time, they said yes to a new school in front of the existing school, behind the existing school. So the recreational land that's there, the conservation land that's there, and you'll see the sign that's right in front, that will remain.
Okay, thanks. I was just curious because
No, that's fine, absolutely. Oh, and actually, for the record, your name?
Debbie Krim?
Debbie Krem?
Yeah, I live at Dearborn Way.
Oh, okay,
My
thank
cul-de-sac.
Thank you.
Anthony Mirabito, 8 Nichols Lane. Just for the board's edification, select person Carbone, because you asked, my friend's presently doing development now. It's about $300 a foot on a fresh build, maybe a little less if you can use the existing footprint. And my property taxes are a lot less than any of the neighboring towns, so thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Any other comments? Ann?
Ann Cody, DC North Liberty. I was listening to what Costa said. Are you talking about taking down the sign to move the entrance and exit, or what was your feeling there? I think I misunderstood. Say.
The facade that would really like to preserve, whether is
The front.
this,
Front.
the
The
front.
front,
The front building. right?
not the side entrances. The front.
And, where the finance director's office is,
And the town administrator's
Mr.
office.
that
Yeah,
wing,
that's fine. Yeah. Okay. That's
if that goes, then there's enough room to have an entrance and an exit on the same
because the
side.
historic part of it being the schoolhouse, it had two entrances,
Yes.
girls and boys. That
And
should
those two entrances would remain.
That should stay.
Oh, it would,
So
okay.
the front of the building used to not have all that green space. So any of that could come out to adjust the opening and the exits, no problem. I don't have any problem with taking away any of that green space in the front. And a good developer can handle that. And out back, the septic system at the museum is under the parking lot that we use for the museum and the library, so it can be under the parking lot.
Yeah,
If the soil underneath the
Yeah, it should be all right. I mean, most of the soil in town is, so that should work. I am strongly with you on keeping that facade. I think we have to do that. I don't think we can replicate that and have it look the same. It does need to stay. But that's, as far as the historical commission goes, that's kind of our
I think this
take on
board's
that.
probably vehemently in agreement with you as well on the facade.
You just can't replicate that old wood feel and look. And there are some nice parts of the town, and I mean, they're talented, and people have done this. You know, a good developer can keep a lot of that interior wood and look and incorporate it, and it's done all over in many other towns, and a good developer could do that. But to Rachel's point, I don't want her to lose her vision. We all have Old Town Hall coming up. Everything you said would apply to that. So just shift your focus down the road.
Does anybody else have any comment or input? Okay, again, this is the first bite at the apple. On the Locust Street property, the town has engaged with an appraiser that has provided us some appraisal. For this property, it looks like we're probably going to be engaging with an engineer to actually look at some septic capabilities there.
For Memorial Hall.
At
Yeah.
Memorial
Yes.
Hall, what did I say?
Yeah, you said it right.
Yeah, okay, Memorial Hall. Okay. Okay, anything further from the board?
I have nothing.
So I think we're on Locust Street. We'll hold off on a large discussion about disposing of that until we find out what we could do with Memorial Hall in case
So-
there is the need to.
But my recommendation is leaning on Locust Street, that we issue probably an RFI looking at Locust Street and Memorial Hall. And ask developers, not-for-profits, other organizations to actually provide their vision. I think this board's talked in the past on Locust Street. We could sell the property tomorrow, and 12, maybe 13, let's call it 12, single-family homes could be built there. And they would look like every other development that has been built in town. We know what the value's probably gonna look like at those homes, 1.2 to 1.4 probably,
More.
maybe 1.5. So this board has talked about, what does that mean if we actually require it to look different? Smaller footprint home, maybe a smaller footprint lot, maybe more green space, maybe more open space there for the residents that live there, that also leads into the conservation land that's there, that where there's walking trails and others, and force some lowercase a affordability into that development. We would have the ability of stating as such in an RFP. So I think what we really need to get to is the brass tacks of what this RFI looks at for both Locust Street and Memorial Hall, with, you know, the understanding that on Memorial Hall, facade must remain, parking must remain for the green space in the town common, and access to that land and back must remain. What gets filled in around that in the RFI, you know, I would ask Justin if you think this is something that we have the capability to like vision in an RFI, or do we need to consider entertaining the utilization of a firm to assist us?
So Brian, you say, in the RFI, would we limit it to housing, or if someone had an idea that was economically feasible? That
Well, I think it would
wasn't
be economically feasible. I mean, I think clearly this board is, if not majority, unanimously of the belief we don't want to be landlords. I mean, let me just add to the
No, no, no,
landlord. But if we were landlords and we had to call
That's
it,
not what I'm asking.
you're saying for the,
For the RFI, what if somebody
non-residential
said,
development.
I want to redevelop it, keep your facade, keep everything, but I don't want to make housing, I want to make offices that nobody will probably rent.
well, if a developer's coming in and said that he or she wants to build offices, I would question their judgment right now.
Right. Or something else, something
But if
else.
they came in and said they wanted to do something retail related,
Or a restaurant?
or a restaurant related, I mean, I don't think I'd be opposed. This was a town building that started as a school, then became our town hall. Honestly, I'd like it to continue to serve the residents, even if we don't own it. And what I mean by serve the residents is not a meal, it would be housing. That's kind of my belief.
I'm saying, should we make that a requirement or not? That's my question. Should that be required, or
Well,
should we
you
be open
can.
to other ideas?
I mean, I think in an RFI, we can welcome other input. I mean, it doesn't mean we,
Take it.
yeah, but I think we state what our vision
You wouldn't
is.
say what to do with it.
Right. Yeah. So I think what I'd like to do is, to answer your question, I'd like to take a crack at getting an RFI out, see what we get back. And I think if the community doesn't like the response, then let's maybe try to identify a firm to package it in a different way.
And is the RFI going to be, this is a twofer? Like, if you're going to do something at Memorial Hall, you have to vision what you're going to do at Locust? Or if you're going to do something at Locust, Memorial Hall comes? Or do we also ask for, give us your vision for one, both, or the other?
I think we could do all three if that's agreeable to the board. If people want
I-
they just have a vision for Memorial Hall, then great. Just Locust Street, great. If there's someone that wants to take on both, great. And let's just kind of see what the options are. You're
I
not held
agree.
to them, so.
But at some point, we may have to require they take on both, because we might get 10 great proposals for Locust Street and 0 for Memorial Hall due to economically feasible, so it may come to the point where we say, start over.
So you can do
Everyone that wants
a
Locust Street and package it.
so you
give
can
us-
do a criteria ranking and make it clear that a response showing a combination of the
Okay,
two
great.
is more advantageous and it
Great.
would score higher.
And I surely do not want to see that building sit mothballed and
No.
vacant for a long period of time.
We're gonna have to pay the insurance for a
Just-
vacant building.
Well,
Never mind the
yeah.
insurance, just the cost of keeping that up and,
Plus that.
And we will still store files and some other things
Yeah.
there for some time, so staff will be in and out, but it will be largely empty.
And are we gonna, we haven't made any final decisions for Old Town Hall. Is finality, is there,
no,
we don't want to
meeting will-
mothball that either, right?
So I think what we're talking about here tonight for this and Locust Street, the RFI is really going to help us get to some semblance of a final decision. I think the old town hall and the fire station, we still have more discussion and probably input to take on this. What I'd like to see is later this fall, us to revisit. By then, hopefully, we'll have an RFI that has gone out, have some input on that, some more information on the consultant that is, the engineer that's doing work over at the fire station, and then some additional exploration on some of the ideas that have come up on the old town hall,
Senior Center.
senior center. But at some point, we have to start, I mean, we got the brass tacks in the police station, that one was easy. But I think we have to start making some decisions here, because once all of these buildings are vacant, it's easy to become out of sight, out of mind, and like, oh, we'll do that later, and then it's a year and a half later, and we still don't have a plan.
No, we can't wait for that.
And if there's a possibility of getting one or others of these properties, or even 3 of them on the tax rolls, that's going to help level some of the pain of the early years of the bonding of this new project. Okay. Well, I thank everybody for their input here this evening. This isn't the end of it. If you go home and you think of things, send us an email, send us a note, pick up the phone and call us. No idea is a bad idea.
Where's your contact information posted?
You can go to our board's website, on our town website, there's contact there. If not, feel free to contact the town administrator's office, and they can distribute it amongst us as well. And our phone numbers are listed as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Okay, moving back to number 4 in the agenda, FY25 year-end transfers. I know the Finance Committee last night took care of their end of this, correct?
Correct. So, within your packet, the page that's most important is the second page within that section, request for transfer of appropriations. dated July 7th, 2025. You'll see the total amount requested is a whopping $1,819.62. Just need to tie up the loose ends for year end here. So there's 3 categories in deficit, and 2 categories are recommended to use to fund. So going in order, to be transferred to Town Council, $101.90 for contractual services. Town Buildings, $1,523.02 for salaries and wages. And Animal Control, $194.70 for salary and wages. We're recommending covering those 3 deficits using the overtime line from the library in the amount of $1,523.02. That directly matches the Town Buildings line that's in deficit because it was overtime, snow removal from the library. And unemployment personnel or personal services, $296.60.
Okay, any questions on that? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Okay, there's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Deb. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, if any? Okay, that passes. Okay, next on the agenda, I thank you for the board. I know that we're a wee bit behind this evening. However, in a note that I sent to the board, I have asked our administrator and our assistant administrator to take a long look at things that we may be able to do to improve our abilities on both employee recruitment when we have vacancies as well as retention. I don't need to tell anybody the job market out there is very competitive. A perfect example is we are now out there looking for a new library director, and sometimes we're competing against other communities. So I've had a conversation with Jackie. Part of this would also include any decisions we make, an update to the personnel handbook, but I asked her to look at some things more specifically around paid parental leave. So this board has been notified that both the elementary school contract has recently implemented that as part of their collective bargaining agreement with their employees. And not long before then, Masconomet, as part of their collective bargaining agreement, had include paid parental leave. I also don't need to reiterate, but our employee base has gotten a lot younger than it has been even 5 to 10 years ago. I will tell you, as we recruit new employees, this is going to be an issue that is going to be asked as part of benefits. So I've asked Jackie to kind of look at what that would look like, what the scenario would look like for a benefit like that. I will tell you, this will probably put us in a position of being a leader on this rather than a follower, where we have been on other benefits. And I'm okay with that because I think this is about recruitment and about retention. During that, Jackie also talked to me about a couple of other areas that she thought was made sense to look at revising. One of them is the use of personnel days during probationary period. When we hire a new employee, employees are under a probationary period. There are certain access to some benefits that take some time. Historically, personal days, which is it 2 or 3? 3 personal days, they cannot utilize during their probationary period. So a new employee comes in and they're starting to earn their vacation and earn their sick time. Really, for the first 6-7 months, they have zero ability to take time. But all of a sudden, after 6 months, boom, these 3 days arrive. One of the things we talked about was allowing personal days to be used during the probationary period. I actually think that is rather logical. And then lastly, we talked a little bit about the bereavement leave policy, what it covers today, and just because what families look like today, it's high time that we talk about updating that. So that's the table I set, Jackie.
Thank you. I appreciate the table being set. I'd like to add a few other items to it for the board's knowledge. I am pleased to say that this update to recruitment and retention is not a criticism by any means. It's a compliment. You guys have been doing a wonderful job. It's very much appreciated. We've been really sticklers about updating the comp and class. That's very important. We updated the handbook in a more significant way last August. All of that work was very important. The health insurance split movement that we've made has been very important. I just do want to be sure that we stay competitive. We are remaining competitive in a lot of ways. I can also offer some updates on recruitment and retention tonight that might please the board. We've had really good progress on the positions that were funded by the override at annual town meeting. I'm pleased to announce that we've made 4 offers to firefighters. The Chief Lacoste did a lot of good work on that, and we're still in the process of onboarding, background checks, etc. But those 4 individuals have accepted, and we've been able to move into that next stage. So a lot of compliments to Chief Lacoste and his team for getting that done. I don't know if he did not walk in. I just saw you all looking. We made at your last meeting 2 appointments on the police front. One of those positions was for filling a retirement that occurred at the beginning of July. The other was one of the positions funded at town meeting. I heard a positive report from Captain Armitage today that we'll have another appointment for one of the new positions at either your August or September meeting, depending on timing for background checks.
Wonderful.
And then that last 3rd position that was funded by annual town meeting is in progress, and I'm optimistic that we'll see someone maybe this fall for that appointment. We have an offer pending for the equipment operator opening. We have interviews all day on Friday for our funded facilities position, which I'm very excited about. And we've had strong applicant pools for the library positions, particularly the assistant director, circ assistants, and the currently open adult services. And we've seen successful internal promotions in many departments, such as our new assistant COA director, who we actually had been working with in our Flint Public Library. So all of which to say, it's very good. It's very important work. We're doing well, but this is an area where I don't want us to get outpaced. So to Brian's point, there are 2 items that are more housekeeping that I wish that we had been able to tackle last August, but we had missed them. So personal days, as Brian laid out, people do not have access to that until their 6-month mark. So they get their vacation time access and their personal time access at the same time. It's hard for them to even take a day, a medical appointment. We just want to be able to allow people to live their lives. This is an area where I've spoken to a few department heads who regularly bring people on board. It's not going to have a big impact to their training and onboarding and operation, but will be very meaningful for people who maybe have 10 or 15 years of municipal experience and are giving up their seniority in their current community to come work for us. So this is a very
100%.
easy give from my perspective to ensure people want to come
I agree
here.
with that completely.
The second is bereavement, and this is something where we have a lot of more non-traditional families in 2025. So our current bereavement policy has a group of people at the 5-day mark for bereavement leave and a group of people at the 1-day mark. This does not preclude people from reaching out to our office to ask for additional time with circumstances, whether travel or other. But this would add step-parents, step-siblings, and step-children to that 5-day bereavement leave, and would add brother-in-law and sister-in-law to the 1-day group. There are a number of other parties currently outlined in our policy, but this would just be adding those because those have been some frequent requests we've seen. So those are the 2 housekeeping matters. With parental leave.
And just to say, that doesn't, I know you mentioned it, that doesn't preclude the ability for
someone to ask.
department heads and you in your role and Justin in his role to provide the appropriate time off as needed.
That request does have to come through us versus the department heads, but yes, we can do more when circumstances require it. Those are just the given days in the benefit package. And then lastly is parental leave. So the board did briefly discuss this last summer when we were talking about the handbook, but we knew both of the schools were working on their collective bargaining agreements. I can offer that at this time Masco settled on 10 weeks of paid parental leave, whereas the elementary schools are stepping into 4 weeks by the end of the contract they just ratified. I will offer that my recommendation, I think, is to split that difference somewhere. So this parental leave would be still concurrent with the federal FMLA regulations, which allow for 3 months of job-protected unpaid leave. Paid parental leave would basically allow 2 of those months, if we went with 8 weeks, for example, to be paid from the paid parental leave, and then the balance month could be taken unpaid or with the employee's accruals. So they could utilize their vacation time, sick time, what
Their
have you,
benefited
that they
time.
have accrued.
What do we do now, Jackie, for parental leave paid?
great question. So people have figured it out, and I've worked with people to figure it out, but we don't have anything to offer at this time. So if you have not been here for a number of years to accrue sick and vacation time, you're taking part of your parental leave unpaid, which is really hard when you have, a new child. If you're the party in your family that is the subscriber to your health insurance, it means we have people paying us out of pocket
For 100% of the cost.
for 100% of the costs during that time. We do have the sick leave bank, which gives some relief to some employees, but it's been a Band-Aid, I will offer. I can't get into specific scenarios, and by no means ever should, but it's been a Band-Aid for the people that have found themselves in that scenario. And to Brian's earlier point, our demographics are changing dramatically. If we want to stay competitive with, just the size of the population, when you talk about those generations that are in the workforce, the size of the Gen X, Millennial, Gen Z, there's just less of those populations than there were the boomers. And so that's a big challenge, is that there's just less people looking for jobs, and the job market is more competitive. So if we're not staying relevant on this, with maybe not matching the private sector, recognizing we're a municipality, we have more limited resources, but for the size of our organization, being able to offer something like this is going to give us a big edge as from an organizational business standpoint with the types of other communities that we're competing with for employees. We have had people reject, we've had people reject offers, and we've still found people, but this is definitely a factor for younger employees. It's something that they're looking at. People call and speak with me far more at length than they used to about what type of offerings we have. Our handbook is public information. It's on the website. People are looking at these types of benefits when they are considering jobs in different municipalities. So based on that, I think this is really a critical way for us to stay as competitive as possible from a business perspective, as well as.
So what do you recommend? I know the elementary is now at 2 weeks. Next year it'll be 3 weeks, and then it'll be 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
What are you recommending? And Masco's at 10. What do you recommend?
I think 8 weeks is where we should be, if that's the question. It's the board's decision, but my professional recommendation at this time would be 8 weeks.
What if we did a couple of step, just for financial impact on the community?
So I think it's hard to.
Can't lose
I think
sight of that.
I think the problem with this, Debbie, is how you financially model this.
I guess the
Because,
8 just is stunning to me. That's
Yeah, I mean,
why.
we don't, I will tell you that is, I'm done having kids, but my employer is 8 weeks. And you can take a total of 4 months if you use your additional time that you have. My former employer was 3 months paid. And I'll tell you, my former employer had younger employees than my current employer. So it's really hard to model this of what the cost is going to be, because
Depends on the person.
surely not the question you're asking, nor should you ask. But secondly, if we do 2, 3, 4, we could have nobody take advantage of this year and next year, and then
Bam,
three take
we could
advantage
have
of it
5.
in year 3. And so I view this as, what's the benefit and how does it help? Now, I would assume under the handbook, an individual could take this as full-time leave or a hybrid of, I'm going to work part-time, or is the position of the town, if you're taking parental leave, you're taking family medical leave? I mean, I view it as, if you're taking parental leave, you are disconnected from your job during that time.
So we would not want to limit those parameters. We would basically do it the same as our current FMLA policy, which allows 2 types of FMLA. There's traditional FMLA, which you turn in your paperwork, you get it certified, you're out for 3 months. We don't talk, we don't hear from you, you're out for 3 months, and you're only getting in touch with us to update us as to your return date. That there's also intermittent FMLA, which we have which is a common use that people do, where if you're going to be out but you want to start to return on a part-time basis, maybe you return on a part-time basis, or we've had people who, worked a day a week during a leave because they want to keep up, and that's been their decision. So it's up to the employee what they file for, but those are the two pathways. One example I can offer is that we've had employees who they do 2 months of full FMLA, and then the last month they do intermittent, and they come back. And so their total leave from date to date is maybe 4 months, but they basically did 2 full months and then 2 half months based on their family need and schedule. And a lot of people want that flexibility of that transitional time coming back.
And
Don't
that
disagree.
flexibility would be determined in consultation with your office.
Case by case.
Yep, okay.
It's the employee who chooses to file. It's really the employee's decision. We just work with employees case by case on how to cover for that leave with what they are federally allowed to decide which way they want to do it. We just work with them on coverage and scheduling and
So
operations.
I appreciate what the elementary school did. It's very small. I think Masco went big. I don't disagree with you with somewhere in between. I don't like the idea of laddering this, mainly for the fact that this is the benefit. If we're going to offer it, we're going to offer it. But I don't know what other board members are thinking in terms of time.
8 weeks is fine, like you said. We have no idea what the cost. It could be several years with nothing, and then a year with 6 people taking.
Right.
Well, some people you need to backfill and some you don't. Some the cost would be 0, and some, it could be a high level
Right,
where it's a
but if-
big cost.
It's genuinely not something that anyone in my HR conversations that I've had have started to model yet. I'm sure that if someone's going to figure out how to model it with any sense of forecasting accuracy, it's probably going to be Finance Director Wood. I'm not putting that challenge on her. I'm going to be the one to work on that. But she generally has really good insight on how to figure out math problems. I'm not sure how to even set up, let alone solve. But I think this is new terrain.
Is this just for non-union people?
No, I think this is where this town is, I think, going to be magnanimous. My recommendation in the process of this would be included as a side letter. Because I think the reality is the elementary school in Masco has kind of set the table for this. Now, we could offer it just to our non-union employees and then negotiate this, but I think we're being very clear that this isn't something that we want to negotiate so we can get something here for it. This is just the right thing to do. This is the way I view it. But
I don't disagree.
And even though the teachers are employees of Middleton, they would not get it. They would just get the elementary teachers get what they were promised, or they would get this new.
The town of Middleton employee handbook only does not cover anyone in the Tri-Town Union.
In the
So they
Tri-Town
have
Union.
2 units now. They have the teachers unit, and then they have a unit B, which is the non-teaching professionals. So
Teachers' aides and
their union covers all of the Tri-Town Union, and then they have an employee handbook for anyone that's like central office.
so would they be covered by personal days and bereavement leave changes?
No, this is not we have no authority to change that.
So our employees, as we've changed our split on health insurance,
We've also gone to the school, I've met with the school committee and gotten their support. So we've done that as a team with Town Administrator Saltzback and myself and Superintendent Morrison and Assistant Superintendent Greenberg have all met. I've met with the school committee. Every time I've met with you, I've met with the school committee. So we were able to do that lockstep because we worked with both you and the school committee at the same time.
Okay. So I think 8 weeks, 2 months is a logical amount. And if that's the decision this board's going to make, I would give free rein to you, Justin and Jackie, as you are working with our union representatives from all of the unions, of understanding that this is surely, like, we could have made this decision of our non-union employees and then asked them to negotiate this with us. This is, we believe, the right thing to do, and hopefully this will set the tone for your reentrance into negotiations going forward.
This would be effective when, if we vote for it?
Whenever you make that determination,
Wouldn't we,
so I would say it's cleaner to start like August 1, start it on the beginning of a new month.
It wouldn't be effective for any union members until their union,
Agree to the side
That would have
letter,
to be by a side letter.
which I would probably get going on. If with this board's support, if that was your decision, I would probably start working with all of our union folks this week.
how many do you have? Do you know? Was it 5, 6?
Unions.
Unions, that different?
So we've got police, part and full, full-time fire, call
Part-time.
fire, who I would not do a side letter because those are all part-time employees, admin assistants, DPW, library. 6.
6.
Library's not fully, would they,
They do not have a collective bargaining agreement in place, but they are a ratified union with the
But-
state, so we
so
would
can we do
still.
a side letter without a collective bargaining
Correct,
agreement?
we can.
Okay.
So we would reach out to all of those units with the exception of call firefighters, which only, that particular unit only represents part-time employees.
Is there, so other than the health insurance split, which is probably the number one first thing that people look at, is there anything else you can think of that?
I will tell you another thing that people look at is what is the health insurance split for retirees?
that's huge.
That's,
I think the health insurance split for active and retirees. I think the fact that we've continued to commit to the comp and class. I mean, you'll remember, Jeff, we were new together when we dug deep into that comp and class the first year, and we've continued to update it and stay competitive. And I think that's been really critical. I think, we're trying to build a stronger culture of appreciation of our employees. So I think all of you are to thank for that as well. I know Justin and I were already talking about dates for our employee appreciation gathering, that the board does every fall. So I think you have to do a little bit of everything in this day and age because every person has different needs. But I think we're trying to build a really strong foundation to make sure that Middleton remains competitive in an era where if you went on MMA recently or any of the sites where folks are posting positions, you go on like the state library posting page right now, it's a very competitive market. Everybody's looking. I can think of half a dozen towns that added firefighters to their budgets this year. So it's been a very tough market. And I think we've done well so far, but this is definitely the next step. And a lot of that credit to the board because we couldn't do that without you making those decisions.
okay, so use of personal days during probationary period, and would that begin on day 1 of employment?
Correct.
Addition of family members to bereavement leave policy for the 5 days would be step siblings, step parents,
And stepchildren,
and step children. For the 1 day would include
brother-in-law, sister-in-law.
brother-in-law, sister-in-law. Where do mother-in-law, father-in-law fall in?
I think they're in immediate right now, which is the 5-day.
Okay.
When I read the packet, they were in immediate.
Yeah.
And those changes don't need a side letter with the unions, or do they?
So different unions have different needs. So I'll have to do some with each.
Right, so I move that we make those changes on personal days and bereavement and 8 weeks of maternity leave starting September 1st. That way,
September, not August.
yeah.
Okay.
Give
Yep,
Jackie
yep,
enough
to
time
give
We're
Jackie
almost mid,
time.
we're on
No,
our way
I
to
agree.
mid-July right now.
to
I agree.
get all the side letters, that are needed so that, kind of everybody starts with this benefit on September 1st.
Can I ask Jackie one question? So that runs concurrent with the Family Leave Act? It's not they get the
Correct.
8
Yes.
weeks, then they can do
They get so they'd get the 3 months of job protected FMLA, federal leave,
Right.
and the first, however they want to structure it, 2 of those 3 months
Gotcha.
can be
So it's
paid
not,
under
they get
this
2 and
policy.
then 3.
And I will offer it, I don't want to correct your motion, but it would be parental versus maternal because it could be for either parent.
Right.
So it's parental leave, and so it's, for our FMLA policy, it's for the birth or adoption of a child.
Yep. Okay.
And that's pretty,
What if
that's
both
pretty
parents
standard.
are employees?
It's not about a couple, it's about the individual employee. Each employee that we have has rights.
No, my question, so, okay, so
Yeah.
individually, what if they were both employed by the town?
Then they each are eligible for the 8 weeks.
Okay, so we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, if any? Okay, that passes unanimously. Jackie, thank you for your work on this.
Thank
I
you,
appreciate
Jackie.
your focus on this, and ladies and gentlemen, I think this is an opportunity to kind of show our employees and our future employees that, as a town, we're focused on their needs.
It's very appreciated.
Okay, 52 Peasley Circle, that development, when it was built, part of that was a certain number of units are required to be income indexed. And as such, when a property that is part of that agreement is up for sale, the town has a right of first refusal on this. If we do not entertain the ability for us to take that into our own ownership, then it goes into a process through the Executive Office of Housing and Community Living, or whatever it's called. I was going to say it EOCD, but they haven't called it that in a few years. Will oversee the process for a lottery for that unit. So we have before us 52 Peasley
I
Circle.
move that we decline our right of first refusal.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, if any? Okay.
Brian, do you know how that works? So how does that work?
So it's based on an income qualification. The unit is the exact same size and layout as the other units that are in that building. However, it may not have the same fit and finishes. They're also required to pay the same condo fee. However, the state will make a determination of what the value of that property is when it's sold. So it doesn't get sold at market value. It gets sold at a value based on and it's based on a certain income and asset
The
limit.
AMI
So how
out
do-
of Lawrence.
Is there like a way, like how do people,
So the state handles that. Executive Office of Housing and Community Living will either utilize a vendor or a not-for-profit or a pseudo-government agency to actually handle the process. They will actually, because there's been units that have opened up in the past, they'll actually have a lottery.
they have a,
Again, this is a 55 and older, so
Right.
you first off have to be 55 and older, and then secondly, there is both income and asset requirements as well.
And they typically will often look at current owner paid so much for it, they are allowed some small increase, and they add, if they've made an improvement to that property, that gets added on.
And then lastly, these units get counted in our inventory of affordable units in the town. Okay, summer work update. Anybody that travels Liberty Street, Essex Street, and DeBusch is very excited that they're going to get a very smooth road. And folks have been dealing with Forest Street at all as well. I know our Public Works Director has some recommendations that you wanted to bring to the board this evening.
Correct. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And this typically comes in 3 phases, which is the phase where it's frustrating that the road's in bad condition, the phase when people are frustrated that we're working on the roads, and then the phase when people are frustrated that people are speeding on the new roads. So right now, we're in phase 2 of that, which is as outlined
So
on.
true.
Yes, Forest Street, Essex Street, DeBusch Ave, and Liberty Street. Through the month of July, we're going to see varying phases of road closure. So for Forest Street, on February 14th.
Not February.
February, my God. July 14th, Valentine's Day is on my mind. July 14th and July 15th, from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Road closed on both lanes, open only for local residents and emergency personnel. Essex Street, DeBush Ave, and Liberty Street on July 16th, from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Road closed, both lanes, once again, open for residents and emergency personnel only. Obviously, weather permitting, there may be some shifting depending on crew availability, but we're going to make sure that we communicate this on the website just to try to ease some of the frustrations from residents who may not anticipate this work happening and then have an
Are we
unfortunate
grinding and
surprise.
paving one day after the other, or are we
The
grinding?
milling has happened.
Forest Street
milling
is
has
already
happened.
milled.
I didn't know all of Forest was milled.
To my knowledge, it has, as of today, been fully
Okay.
milled.
Yeah.
And
All
so,
of Essex isn't milled though.
so
All of it.
We're all done.
No, not all of
We're all
it.
milled.
The only the portion that they're milling now.
yeah. So this will be almost exclusively paving, maybe some changing and raising and lowering of structures. But
That's what's going on today, tomorrow, that's what's
So,
happening.
our apologies to, the tongue-in-cheek earlier, but our apologies to the residents. We do know it's frustrating, when you wake up and you're not expecting that and you're trying to get to work or, bring the kids to camp or
You know,
whatever.
when they move from Forest Street to Liberty, Essex, DeBush, will there be crews working on Liberty and another crew working on Essex, DeBush, or be one
No.
crew that would go from?
One at a time, moving their way through town. Yep. So to the residents, keep your eye on the website, and we'll make sure we keep it updated. And thank you.
And social media as well.
Yep, social media as well, and thank you to Ashley
And-
Garber for preparing this document.
And this is still the last of the ARPA money for the Waterloo project, correct?
No.
No,
This is-
so some of this is, or actually, no, all of this is self-funded.
Is ours chapter
Yeah,
90?
this one's
Either
us.
our money or-
Yeah, or chapter 90.
Chapter 90.
Yep.
Okay. Does anybody have any updates or announcements for the board?
I just want to thank everyone that came and they either attended or volunteered at Chief Will's Day. It got postponed because of rain on Saturday, 6/28 to Sunday, 6/29. Weather was very nice, and then everybody had a good time.
Very good. Well, thank you to everybody, including the town employees that helped make that a success. Okay, I would entertain a motion for us to enter executive session pursuant to General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, for us to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining negotiations, and to let folks know we will not be returning to open session.
So moved.
Okay, there is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a second. Debbie, could you take a roll,
Yep.
please?
Rick,
I'm going to recuse myself from.
Costa,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yep.
and I am a yes.
Okay, we are in executive session, will not return to open session. Thank you.